Hi, everyone. I'm Kelsey.
And I'm JPatt, and you're listening to the Box Officers Podcast. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode, and please leave a review wherever you're listening to this episode. Watching a bad movie is like witnessing a serious crime, but have no fear. The box officers are here.
Yep. So every episode, we are going to review a movie and then we're going to classify it according to the severity of punishment. So films can be convicted of a felony, a misdemeanor, an infraction, or on the rare occasion found innocent. This week, we are reviewing the movie Straw. It's out on Netflix. So if you haven't seen it yet, you're going to want to pause this episode because we're going to spoil like the whole thing. Otherwise, let's get into the episode.
Taraji P. Henson, she was kind of like the star of this movie, especially acting wise. Was that kind of like a pull for you? I like seeing her being
I
like
mean,
the
yeah,
lead
I'll
for
watch
this.
anything with her in it, pretty much.
Yeah,
Like, I
yeah,
love her. She's great. And I knew she'd do a good job. I feel like also just with it being a Tyler Perry movie, okay, part of me was like, oh, I gotta watch it because I know I'll be, if nothing else, entertained. But then part of me was like, I should not watch it specifically because Tyler Perry is a
Tyler
menace
Perry.
to
Yeah,
society. And I was like, I need to avoid that man at all costs.
yeah.
I was just
That's exactly
ready
why
to
I
like
asked that because I was just
avoid it.
like, it's a Tyler Perry movie, but then you have this star in it as well. So that was kind of like the eye catcher. Because honestly, for me, just seeing another one of those struggle movies, and it doesn't even have to be Tyler Perry, just a struggle movie
But
in
it'd be
general.
him. It'd be him.
Yeah, it do be
Yeah.
him. It do be him. He got a reputation.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I just wasn't in the mood for it. But then I saw Taraji
Same.
P, and I'm not gonna lie, I saw a couple of clips of her, acting her little tail off. I was like, okay, it got my interest. And then the fact that it just skyrockets in popularity, within only a couple days, that's when I was like, okay, yeah, the box office says we gotta see what's up.
Yeah, I was
Um,
gonna skip
and
it
here we are.
because I don't like watching people be like miserable for
Yeah,
fun. But I guess we
yeah,
had too many people ask us like, "Hey, y'all aren't gonna review this one," and so I was like, "Okay, fine, I'll watch it." So, oh, but
yeah.
I knew she would do well. I feel like based on like his past work, I kind of knew we were gonna get into like something traumatizing, and that
hmm
whole movie, literally within 10 minutes of not even 4 minutes of the movie starting, it's
4 minutes.
already thing after thing after
Yeah,
thing after
just
thing.
boom, boom, boom.
I had to
I'm like,
like,
this is like single motherhood of doom. Like,
yeah, it was a bit too much for me. Honestly, like, again, I've always said that the black woman's biggest enemy is Tyler Perry. And here he goes again, like, ready the most stressful day
yeah,
ever. Like, this woman, first of all, her daughter's sick. They make that very clear from the beginning. And then
hmm
just having to hear her daughter be like, yeah, I'm getting bullied at school basically because you don't have
yeah,
$40 and then you're getting evicted.
yeah.
And then she goes
Like
to
this
this
girl is just
job. I think that's
living
what
in hell.
blew me when she went to work
Yeah.
and everybody at the job, like the customer's terrible, the
Yeah,
boss
it's like you can't
terrible.
talk to nobody.
Like,
I'm like, what universe is this in?
yeah, I
Can't
was
talk to
like,
nobody, cursing. I'm like, okay.
yeah,
In reality, nobody's gonna be like, it was just like everybody was just
every
a terrible person. Yeah,
literally every single person she interacted with was a horrible individual except for
yeah,
that guy who she was giving the change to outside her apartment.
yeah,
But literally every single other person, the cop, I was like, how is this
yeah.
even possible for
Tweaking.
you
Yeah,
to like cut off a cop in traffic, whatever? Or I don't even know if
yeah.
she cut him off, but like him ramming his car into her.
He gets pit. Yeah, he pits maneuver her. Like he did a pit maneuver on her car,
Mhm.
and I'm like, how is it possible for a cop to do that? He gets out. He's talking about, I'm gonna kill you
Like,
in the most legal way I can.
I just feel like, mind you,
I was like, damn.
mind you, my
Yeah,
stuff is on the sidewalk in the rain.
in the rain.
One of the biggest villains in this movie is the landlord. Like, I have
Oh no,
nothing
for sure.
positive to say about this person, but I think initially, like, I didn't watch a trailer or any. Did you watch a trailer or anything?
No, no,
Yeah.
I eventually started seeing clips, but I saw it when it first came out on Netflix. Like, I just saw like a little preview thing,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, okay, the Tyler Perry movie dropped, and I just scrolled because I didn't plan on watching it at the time, and it was just honestly, I feel like it wasn't even getting talked about until maybe like a week ago. But I feel like it's been out for maybe 3 weeks at this point. So it was like the first week it was out real quiet, or the first 2 weeks it was out real quiet, and then like within the past week, that's when all this buzz is coming through. So it really wasn't on my radar honestly until I got that buzz, and I'm not like trying to like be like sheep or whatever, just follow what everybody else is doing. But I mean, that's our job as box officers
Yeah.
to see what people are yapping about. But I'm actually glad I watched it. Like it was I try not to say entertaining because I mean
I mean, it's a movie,
it's a try yeah,
but I get
it's a
you.
crazy movie. I feel like there was just like barely any good in the movie at all besides, the support she got from some of the women
Yeah.
when she was in the bank. But besides that, it was she had a pretty rough life, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
based on the title, I knew it was going to be some mess. Based on the director, I knew it was going to be some mess. I just hate seeing black
mm,
people be stressed out. I don't like watching movies like that, but I did not know that. I don't know. I didn't see the trailer. I don't know how much information was in the trailer. Like, I don't know. But the fact that the whole movie really centers around her allegedly robbing
yeah,
this bank, that was like not a plot twist, but like unexpected for me. I don't know why. I just didn't think that that would be like the main part of the plot. Basically,
yeah,
her being in this
yeah,
bank, which I thought was interesting and a little bit different than things that he's done in the past.
yeah,
And I normally don't really like movies where they're shot in like one setting.
yeah.
This one had multiple, but like literally over 50% of the movie takes place in a bank. This one didn't bother me. And so I thought that was
No, I
good.
didn't really. Yeah, and there are some movies that'll just do that. They'll keep it all in one place. I feel like there was a movie we reviewed not too long ago that kind of kept it all in one place.
Hmm.
It's not coming to mind right now. But honestly, before I saw the movie, I saw clips of stuff happening in the bank, but I didn't think it was going to be a hostage situation type of movie.
Hmm.
I thought it was just going to be her going about her life, kind of like in a pursuit of happiness style, her going about the ins and outs of life, and then, things happening here and there, and it gets crazy from there. But the fact it all happened in a bank, I think he did a good job with that, especially under the premise of the bomb not even being real,
Hmm.
her not even really trying to rob, you know. I think he did a good job with fleshing some of the characters out. And then also, when she was talking about, she didn't want that man to be there when she came out because she felt like she was going to be shot. I was thinking, like, okay, at the beginning of the movie, I was thinking it was just a random occurrence. Like this police officer, he's just some one-off guy, just acting out, and then that's just making her life worse. I didn't know that was going to come back into play later on, and then it made sense why she wouldn't want to come out. Because I'm like, okay, if she knows she's not robbing the bank for real, and she knows she doesn't want to hurt anybody in there, then why keep the hostages? Why not just walk it out and everything?
Hmm.
And then it clicked when she was like, that man is out there. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, that's a pretty good excuse to keep everything in one setting.
Yeah.
So him adding that in the beginning of the movie was a really good move. Prolonged the story, made it more
Hmm.
realistic.
I thought it
Yeah.
was also with the science project, in the beginning, they tell us, like, oh, this is her science
Yeah.
project. So when we get to the bank, we already know there's not a bomb there. But once the people
Yeah.
in the bank realized that there was no bomb, I also thought, well, it's a wrap because the only reason she's not dead
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
realistically is because she has a bomb. So now that they know she
Yeah.
doesn't have a bomb, like, what's going to happen? But I
Yeah.
thought it was smart,
But
like,
when,
for them to extend the movie basically through
yeah.
the bank teller, or I guess she was the
Yeah, the bank
manager,
man.
and her basically becoming like an ally. Because truth is, if that woman
Hmm.
had said, "Oh, she don't have a bomb, y'all come on in," it was gonna be a wrap. But she was like, "I don't think you should go
Yeah.
or tell anyone."
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though the girl in the
Yeah.
bathroom had already kind of like said her piece, the
That was her
manager
name,
was
Tessa.
still like, "I'm gonna walk with her. Like, I'm going back inside with her." Because again, if they clear out the hostages, this movie is over. Like, every
Hmm.
single avenue was gonna lead to this lady. Like, it was gonna be over. So I thought
Yeah.
they did a good way of like, I guess, lengthening the film without it being like unrealistic, because I've seen some movies go on and on and on. I loved Trap, but the last like 10 minutes of that movie should have never happened. But I think this one was extended in a way that made sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It added to the
And that was my
plot.
first thought. Yeah, that was my first thought when it was exposed that the bomb wasn't real. I was thinking like, are they gonna say something about that? Because if they do, the police are just gonna rush in. But then he added onto the bank manager, her character, he added onto her by just being like, no, she's not going to say anything because, she wants her to get out safely.
Hmm.
So she's gonna be like, let's not tell them that it's not even a real bomb,
Yeah.
you know. But of course, I kind of predicted that that one character, the young girl, Tessa, that was her name. I kind of predicted that she would kind of act out on her own, and not really give a crap what happens to the lady, to Raji P's character.
Hmm.
Yeah, she got on my nerves a little bit. Like I was with that old lady. She was like, "You are not a nice
You're
person."
not, because
Yeah,
anyone hearing all of this would sympathize with her. And
yeah,
also, like, a lot of this was avoidable. Like, that man, he should have just gave her her check, and then the bank should have just
yeah.
cashed the check. At the same time, I can
Hmm.
understand, like, you're a bank teller, someone's saying cash this check. It clearly looks fishy. Like, you already came in on 10, there's blood on the check, and you're like
Hmm.
yelling at me to cash it, and you don't have an idea. It's like, maybe I can't. But for it to escalate to this point, truthfully, if they had just handed her $500, she would have just left.
Yeah,
And for them to be like pulling all the money out of the registers, and she's
all the
clearly saying,
cash
I
out
only
and
want
crap.
my money that's on this check. And they're like, you're
Yeah,
robbing us, and you have a bomb, and she has a gun. And she's like, hold on,
I just
I
want
just
five
wanted to
hundred
cash
twelve
my
dollars.
check. And so I feel like I get it. Like, in the moment, it's scary. Like, who knows what I would have done? I would have been scared too. Like, you just see a woman with a
Yeah,
gun. But again, they know her. Like, she comes in there. They clearly knew who she was. So it's like, for
yeah,
y'all to escalate it like that quick. Like, y'all don't want to ask her, hey, like, what's going on? Why are you tripping? They said, no, she has a
yeah,
bomb. She's about to blow everybody here up. I thought that was jumping to conclusions. Like, why would this lady walk in here with a
yeah. Very
bomb?
much.
Y'all saw her this morning. Why was she walking here with a bomb?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Where's she gonna get the bomb
That's what I'm
from?
saying. I was like, who do y'all think she is? Why is she building bombs in the back of the grocery store? Like, come on now. I
Yeah.
also thought that the plot twist left me with a lot of questions, just in terms of like clarity for the plot, what was actually happening
Hmm.
versus what was not happening. They clarified some
Hmm.
of it. Like, of course, like the daughter in the morning getting ready for school, like she wasn't there, or like her dropping the girl off at school or going back to school later, like none of that was really
Yeah,
like,
that was crazy.
yeah. But I
Yeah,
would like to know, and now I have questions like about the rest of her day, like,
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like perspective wise, not enough was cleared up, which I get they do it so that we can come to our own conclusions. Even the end, I was like, we see her
yeah,
get like shot up, and then we're supposed to think like, oh, that was just like,
yeah.
another
Fake.
illusion or whatever. But she
Yeah,
really drives off or is driven off in the cop car, whatever. But now I'm thinking,
yeah,
the people outside, were they really supporting her? Like, was that support real, or is that also like
yeah.
psychosis?
Now,
Like the stuff that they were saying on the
yeah.
news, like, were they really? I don't know. It left me with a lot of questions. I know they do it on purpose so that we'll talk about it, whatever, but I just like
Hmm.
answers. I want a like post credit scene with, this is what really happened, this is what didn't happen.
Yeah. I kind of did expect that because it just kind of like cut the credits right after she drove off in the police car. But I think, and this is my prediction or theory about it, my theory is that all of this is taking place literally the day after her child passed away because her mom was like, your daughter passed away last night. But we know that this movie has taken place all in one day. There was no last night. So ever since the beginning of that day, beginning of the movie, all of that's just been fake. It's all been in her head. Her daughter was gone the whole time. And then apparently the bank manager knew the whole time. And I think that's where part of her sympathy was coming from. Because like even when she was like, "Will you take care of my daughter?" There was like a hesitation in like the bank manager's voice, and I was kind of like, okay, if I can kind of get it. She's like
I
hesitant to
would have
take on this whole
hesitated too. That's
responsibility.
a whole
Yeah, yeah.
person that you have to
It's
raise.
a whole, yeah, a whole responsibility, but then at the same time, she may have been hesitating because she's just like she doesn't realize her daughter, has passed away. But she's making that promise to her in the moment because she wants her to have some type of peace, have some, just clarity in her mind so that they can all get out that situation. But yeah, that's my theory on it. The psychosis thing can be explained pretty well whenever she does this confused little look because you'll have these whole conversations play out, like the conversation on the phone and then the conversation at the school. And I'm like, okay, you imagined all of that, but were you just standing there talking as if they're there? Or were you, just was it all stuck in your head? Because when the CPS came, she was yelling for her kid and stuff. She was yelling at the teacher, the principal, etc. But, at the end of the movie, she does talk to the principal a bit, but then it's like the other people aren't there, but she doesn't say anything to them. She just kind of like does this, so it's all going on in her head. So it was, in my opinion, it was a solid plot twist. I've seen better plot twists, but I think this plot twist was pretty dope. It was a pretty cool plot twist, and then it just kind of showed the severity of the situation of where her mind was at, where she was mentally after her daughter passed away.
But at first, like when they first said that she was
Okay.
experiencing psychosis, I was like, they were never robbed. Like the grocery store was never robbed. Like all of it was fake. And I think, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Like that could have been psychosis as well.
right. And I think that now,
Okay.
after the fact, I think that it was real and it was just like a
Hmm.
horrible add on to her day. But part of me, was confused. I think the only thing that adds clarity is the
Yeah.
detective, Tiana Taylor's character. So whenever we see her like interacting with like a scene, like when she pulled up to the house and the stuff was on the lawn and they're looking at the pill bottles, I'm like, okay, so she actually was evicted. Or like when they went to the
Hmm.
grocery store and they're like investigating, I'm like, okay, so something happened in the grocery store.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I guess it was real, but at first I was confused. I said, "Oh, she didn't even get evicted today. Like everything she made up." But I don't think she made up all of it. I think it's literally the
Now,
parts that they clarified at the end. I think those were the parts she was
yeah.
imagining. Because I even thought, I said, "What if she never got the ticket?" Like
Yeah.
the traffic violation
The
ticket,
the
whatever.
traffic ticket.
But I remember the detective was like, they were looking for it, and she was like, "Oh, I found the ticket, whatever." So
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah, yeah,
okay, I
yeah.
guess it did happen. So I've been
So that was
basing
real.
the truth around Tiana Taylor's character, I guess is how I did
Yeah.
it.
Now that I think about it, remember when the police pulled up to the store, right? And you see the store owner laying there dead. I believe he was there, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, he was laying there dead, and they were like, we identified him as the store owner. You see his body, but did you see the body of the robbers there, or the body of that one robber who was shot?
I don't remember, but because
Yeah,
they made it, they were discussing it like, did she know them? Did she not? That makes me think their bodies were there. I just wasn't
they were there.
looking at them
Yeah.
because the police, like the detectives, were like, oh, maybe she knew the people and was like setting it
Yeah.
up, and yeah,
Oh
so
wait, I think I'm tweaking. I'm tweaking because they did see the robbers on the CCTV,
that too,
the
yeah.
security camera. Yeah, yeah. So okay, all of that was real.
I think it was just
Yeah, all
like
of that was real.
clarifying what was like, am I watching the movie not through her POV but like through her POV or not? Because at first we
Yeah.
are, because we're seeing the daughter. Like when she got up in the morning, she did drop a girl off at school. I did see CPS
Hmm.
take a girl away. So I think at a certain point, like it's shifting perspectives. Like we're seeing
Yeah,
reality
shifting from
versus
in her
her
head.
psychosis. And in the end, they kind of
Yeah.
like try to clarify it for us. But I thought that was really cool twist, and I thought it made it more interesting instead of like just,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's still horrible though, because you think like the reason she's experiencing this is because her daughter did die. And I had a
Yeah,
feeling,
dude.
I'm gonna be honest, and I have nothing against Tyler Perry, I think, like I think, but
Hmm.
I just knew. I said either Taraji's gonna die or her daughter's gonna die. That's how he's gonna make this
Yeah.
movie end. There's no way they get out of here and they live happily ever after. Like I knew somebody was going to suffer. I didn't know if they were gonna raise this girl like alone, or the
Yeah.
daughter was gonna die like when CPS took her away because her meds were on the street. I didn't know what was gonna happen, but I said something is not gonna go right.
Yeah, something's gone.
I did think it was interesting that they killed the daughter, though. I did not really
I didn't see that
expect that.
coming.
I thought it was just going to be this like horrible thing where this daughter loses her mom or whatever. I'm glad they didn't kill both. That would have been way too much going on. But um, I just think like that was interesting to me, and also still like almost worse because now this woman needs like help, you know. So I would
Yeah,
have liked to see like did they take her to get the mental health that she like the
I'd
help
hope
that she
so.
needs, you know?
Yeah, like don't take her to jail,
Yeah.
mental hospital, something
And
like
she has
that.
so much support. So I'm like, I'm assuming she went to like a mental health facility. Like that's my thought. Like
Yeah,
once all of this legal stuff is out the way, that would be my thought, especially with like the support she has like from the community. But I was like, of course everybody wants to be sympathetic now. Y'all didn't care about this woman this morning when she was trying to ask everybody for help and nobody wanted to help her. But
yeah.
it's okay. I'm gonna move on.
That's a good point. How do you feel about Tiana Taylor's
I thought she did great.
um performance? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. She
I think
did awesome. Yeah.
yeah. I think I saw something. It was like every scene she was in, she was just like serving.
Yeah.
I like just the
I
face and
was
everything or the walk.
Yeah, that was the plot for me. I just feel like, yeah, I knew she'd do well, but she looked great while doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I liked her character as well. I like that they gave us her and the bank manager, at least two people who are like, this is a human being, y'all. Let's slow down for a second and get to know this lady before we jump to
Yeah.
conclusions. Genuinely, if her character wasn't in there, again, it would have been over for Miss Taraji. So I was
Yeah.
so
Still was like
grateful for her to be in the position she was in and that she was the negotiator, you know?
yeah, because I mean, honestly, it felt like almost everybody else in that universe was just like
Everybody.
ignorant almost.
Yeah.
I mean, like even some of the old people that were in the bank, I'm like, she has a gun, she has a bomb, and you're talking about when I served and I'm a veteran. Well, and I'm like,
Now it's not
bro,
the
like
time.
now is not the time.
Yeah.
Now's not the time to be pulling off this
Mm.
attitude. Even the same thing with what's her name, Tessa. She's talking out of turn, and I'm like,
I've
you
active
were literally,
I've actively avoided like that
yeah,
person because
yeah,
that was easily the second worst character in the movie because
hmm
you are seeing this woman like you've been here with her for hours, so you don't have not a single part of you feels any kind of sadness for her. And I get it, like you've been held at gunpoint, so you're upset. I get
yeah,
it. You're tired, you're hungry, you don't want to die, you think she has a bomb, so you're upset. But when you hear her
yeah,
story, I'm like, no part of you thinks, dang, this woman just actually needs help. Like
right,
she was
yeah.
really,
I'm like, you were just at gunpoint,
yeah,
like crying and everything, and you're not, you're safe now. All you're doing is just waiting to be freed, and you're hearing this other woman's story. Like there's like no empathy there. You know what I'm saying? She could have
yeah.
got them killed really with that writing on the window. She could have got
Yeah.
her killed,
I don't know
Yeah,
why, like, I don't know. I thought that that was going to lead to, the version of events that didn't happen where she, like, ends
yeah,
up getting shot in the end. I'm like, man, the second she started writing on the window, I was like, yeah, everybody's dead. I'm so sorry. But I'm glad that didn't, like, play out that way.
yeah,
But yeah, that girl was so annoying. And I'm like, do you think that your attitude is helping anyone right now? Like, we're all upset. And now you're getting mad at the fellow hostages for trying to,
yeah,
like, feel some sort of humanity. I'm like, actually, get her first.
yeah.
Actually,
Nah, yeah, take her.
get her first.
But yeah, we'll see Netflix. We'll see Netflix, drop these movies, and then we'll always have like a little like movie that's real popular, gets a whole lot of buzz. Do you feel like this movie will be like another cult favorite, such as, let's say a movie like what's that one movie called? It's like Bird Box. You remember that Netflix movie?
Hmm.
How viral that went, popular that got. You think this movie will be, as popular or
And
have that much pull?
that movie started like a chain of events. There were a lot of movies after it that were
Hmm
similar. But
Yeah,
no, I don't think that. I think Tyler Perry has more like iconic movies. I think this is one that we'll talk about for 3, 4 weeks and then like kind of forget about
just
it.
drop it.
Not because it's
Yeah,
not good. It's just that he makes traumatizing movies every day. So I feel like for
yeah,
him to have something that like sticks, it would have to be like
yeah,
really crazy
yeah.
or
I feel like this
legendary.
wasn't traumatizing enough, honestly. I mean, because we know how traumatizing he can get. I'm like, this is a little bit more on the softer side,
I almost
you
turned it
know?
off though after like watching it
Really?
for like 15 minutes before we got to the bank. After
Yeah, all of that
the
was,
police pulled her over, I was like, I'm gonna have to turn this off.
yeah.
And like when her stuff was on the sidewalk, I said, I'm gonna have to turn this off and like watch it in like increments because I said I'm
Yeah,
literally getting stressed out. Like I could feel myself getting stressed out watching
yeah,
this lady go through this. But you're right, like he's done horrible
yeah.
things before. And I just feel like we're used to it at this point. And I also think that there's just like a lot coming out this summer that will probably like overshadow this specifically.
Sure.
But I think, it got good like friction for like its time, release time. Like I feel
Hmm.
like it's relevant in its own time for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And shoot, like I really did think it was gonna get even worse after the whole, she gets her stuff evicted because that must have been the last straw. It's called straw. That must have been the last straw. Besides her losing her daughter. So I'm like, she out there in the rain, and then she's like, "Ah,"
Yeah.
what I'm saying? The cliche thing, but I mean, like in that moment, is like you could feel it, and I was just like, yeah, like I was hoping it wasn't gonna get much worse, but I mean, I feel it didn't because I mean, she eventually the whole setting got stuck inside that bank, so there wasn't much else to do with her having a more traumatized
But like, how does
life,
it get worse than you being like not set up, but kind of accused of robbing a bank with not just a
Yeah.
weapon, a bomb? You have a gun, and I think that's where I was like, oh, Tyler Perry did make this because only he would say no. Gunpoint is not enough. She has to have a bomb. Like,
Bomb.
yeah, only he could do this. He's the only one who would say not only is she gonna get framed for robbing her employer, she is five
Yeah.
minutes later gonna be set up for robbing a bank at gunpoint with a bomb. Only he would
Yeah.
do some mess like that.
Only you know
Trifling.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like people,
That's his shtick.
yeah, I mean, like, we clearly keep watching them. So I don't even know if we're in a place to complain. I clearly put it on and streamed it anyway. So, but I saw people talking about it online, and someone tweeted Tyler Perry really mind censored us with straw. I was not prepared for this. This wasn't just a movie, it was psychological warfare. Gosh, I need therapy and a hug. I guess that's what got me. Like, I feel like lately he's definitely been doing more psychological warfare things. I mean, it's always been damaging, like emotionally, the stuff he makes. But I can appreciate like a plot twist like that.
Hmm.
I feel like I've not seen him do something like that on that level before, where it's like, oh, yeah, like now we have to figure out what was real, what was not. That was new.
Yeah.
But yeah, girl, I also was not prepared for this. I knew it was going to be stressful, but that was way more stressful than I was prepared for. And it was so quick. They said, here's 20 minutes of trauma, go. And I didn't like that.
No, for real. Yeah. I was like, everybody's a jerk in that universe. Shoot, I mean, you got somebody throwing bottles at your feet just because you're like, oh, I can't take this card.
Like,
And then
yeah, that's
yeah,
way too much. That's way too
yeah.
much. The grocery
Like,
store,
what?
just the crowdedness of it. I was like, now
Yeah.
come on, we're doing way too much. Yeah, I definitely knew it was gonna be a last straw, but I was like, dang, I feel like you could have broke her without doing all of this. I feel like the eviction is enough to like, I
Yeah,
don't
the
know.
eviction would have been enough.
Why do I have to kill
You got
three people within 30 seconds? Like, come on. Like, there are other ways to stress a person out.
yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for any of that either.
But that old man was pissing me off a whole lot though too. The her
Personally,
manager,
he
her
was not
boss.
missed.
No, he kind of had it coming. I mean, you get a got
Yeah.
a broken woman holding a gun. I'm like, okay, you're not gonna say calm down or whatever. He like immediately like accused her of setting up the robbery just because they said her name. Okay, like I get it, but she does have a name tag,
I was
and
going to say, as
the
if he
robber
don't see
was,
the name tag on
yeah,
her.
name tag, and the robber was literally like, hello, miss, and then I mean you could see him look at her name tag. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, there was something wrong with that old man. Yeah.
Even the fact that he wouldn't just give her check. It is, I'm looking at it, and you're saying, oh, it's going to take however many business days, you're going to get it in the mail. Literally, from that moment on, whatever happens to you is like fair game. And I feel like,
Oh, facts. Yeah.
that's what happens when you treat people like that. You get shot in the
Yeah.
back of a grocery store.
Yeah. And I think the actress that played Nicole was also pretty good too.
Oh, for
Sherry.
sure.
Yeah, Sherry Shepherd.
Yeah,
She did good with her character in consoling Taraji's character. And
I
I
think
say
so
that
for
just
sure. I
because
definitely,
yeah.
yeah, I feel like she definitely embodied empathy very well, and it
Hmm.
felt sincere, and I was like, okay, I'm buying this. I liked it. She did great. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
and I say
like
that just
that.
because the tweet I saw on Twitter says when Nicole went back into the paint so she could be with Janiyah to walk out, I just instantly started bawling. And that's what I liked about her character because I was just like, okay, Tyler Perry also knows how to make a good supporting character, somebody who's a good shoulder to lean on. And that kind of balanced out with all of the trauma that Taraji's character
Mhm.
brought. It wasn't just her relying on Tiana Taylor's character, the lady who was just, trying to, negotiate things out. It was somebody within the bank who's like within that danger or that stress, coming out of that anxiety to be like, okay, let me be this person that they can trust, let me be empathetic to their
For sure. I
situation.
thought it
So
was
I did like that.
so genuine. She did a really great job. And yeah,
Hmm.
I totally agree. I didn't cry during this movie. Like, I did have a lot of people tell me that they were crying multiple times. It takes
Yeah,
a
me neither.
lot for me to cry at
Yeah.
a movie because I think I'm just aware that I'm watching a movie. But I do feel the emotions. It's funny because I do cry a lot in like real life. Like, I don't know, if you see like a family of like birds, I'll be crying, stuff like that, like just random. But for
Hmm.
some reason, when it's like movies, like
Yeah, yeah.
I don't really cry, but emotionally, like inside, I definitely shed a tear when she literally made it out. And she could have been like, well, forget her. But she said, no, this is a person. I'm going to go back, support my girl. And I like that. A real one. Especially once
Yeah.
her Taraji's character was like, I've never had anybody that I can like depend on. Nobody's on my side. It's like, dang, like
Hmm.
if she's low key about to go out, let her have somebody on her side.
Side, yeah. And yeah, she was definitely a really good actress, Taraji's character. And this next tweet kind of clarifies, it kind of builds upon something we said earlier. We wish it had a better ending because I mean, her going off in a cop car, alive, I guess that's a good ending. But at the same time, I want to see if I want to see if she
Yeah,
got help, which is exactly what the tweet says. It said, I want a better ending, at least to see if she got proper help she needed or if she was released early or something. It leaves a little bit on the plate that could have been
for
cleared
sure.
up,
And I think that was part of it for me. Part of it was like I love when they spell it out for me again. I could see if that was like a post credit scene where they tell us like, okay, here are the other parts of her day and we can see like what
Yeah.
was real and what was not. Also, more of what happened in the hospital. I mean, we literally just saw her carrying out a blanket, but we didn't get to see like the experience of her like showing up to the
Hmm.
hospital. Like, was she with her daughter when the daughter had the seizure? Was she not? Like, stuff like that I would have liked to see. But in terms of like the conclusion, her driving off in the cop car, I can see how a post credit scene, like maybe 9 months later, would have been helpful for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, are you ready to give it a good
Oh my
final
goodness.
verdict?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually, okay. I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna just follow my gut because normally when I come into these,
Hmm.
I already know what I'm gonna give the movie. This time I didn't think about it until literally
Hmm.
you just asked me just now. I forgot that was part of the show. I think I'm gonna just give it an infraction
Same.
because
An
again, I
infraction.
like to rate my movies based on like what they're supposed to be. I'm not going to grade this like a nature
Yeah.
documentary when like every movie's in respect to itself good or not. And so for what this was supposed to be,
Yeah, for
which
sure.
was Tyler Perry doing a bunch of mess, I thought this was one of his best pieces. I've always liked his plays,
Yeah.
but like for movies, I thought this was like a good movie of his. I thought the acting was awesome. Like it was amazing. Sometimes it's not. And so I thought the
Hmm.
story was more empathetic in the sense that at least we allowed her to really share her story and we were able to see her receive some kind of allyship even though it came like late, like y'all should have helped her before it got to this point. But I appreciated like the part where she was on the news and you can see people reacting to her everywhere. It's like, wow, this woman is like a person and we need to help her. And I thought it was a different story than before, and I
Yeah.
liked it. I thought it was entertaining, and I thought for it to be mainly shot in one setting, it wasn't boring. I didn't
Yeah,
feel like it went on too long. It was getting close, but I didn't think it went on too long.
yeah,
I really don't have like much to say about it that's like bad. Something in my gut feels like it's not innocent. I thought the plot twist was good. I thought it had the right amount
yeah.
of like suspense, and I thought it was well written enough for me to feel genuine stress and anxiety watching it, which I don't like feeling those things. But if this is a movie about someone being on their like last straw, oh, I felt that. I felt that fully. So I gotta give it an
Hmm.
infraction. It really didn't do much
Yeah.
wrong, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think it did either. I'd say I'd only give it an infraction for probably for the ending, and then probably for some parts where I'm like, okay, there could be a bit more common sense here, or maybe it's just like way too ignorant. It's just way too over the top.
Yeah.
Like even the part where she was mentioning, I'm not going out there because that man is out there, and I feel like that dragged on a bit too long before they were like, where's this guy? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like
She
she has said
did
that
a
several
lot.
times, but it just didn't click with them. Like, I wish it would have been like, this guy, like, there's a police officer out here that, did her dirty or whatever, let's go figure out who it is. And I'm like, okay, you guys are talking about wasting time or like this is taking too long. And I'm like, okay, go find the
Yeah.
freaking police
That's
officer, get
yeah,
on
I
him,
think that upset me, and I feel like
Yeah.
I've never been in that situation obviously, so I don't really know how that would play out in real life, but I can see a situation in
Hmm.
which the police or whoever is so focused on getting this woman out and arresting her or doing whatever, that they're ignoring what she's
Yeah.
saying. And so it extends longer than it needs
Yeah.
to. And that's what was so frustrating for me.
Yeah.
I feel
Well,
like
you gotta
that
do something
probably
about it. Yeah.
happens every day, where people are being very clear and they're just being ignored. But yeah, I think to that point, earlier, to the point of like things being over the top or like a bit absurd, the
Hmm.
store manager, the landlord,
Yeah.
the
Landlord,
cop,
store manager.
I felt like those characters were so over the top trifling that I was like, there's no way she's encountering all of these people in one day. Like, these people are like 30 minutes
One
apart.
day. Yeah.
There's no way. Getting robbed? Like, what are the odds? Like, I was just not. That was a lot for me.
Hmm. Yeah.
I know what I signed up to watch. So that's why I gave it an infraction, but I cannot make it innocent when you're doing all of this. That was insane. I don't know if that's realistic. I hope it's not. I pray for anybody who's lived all of that within 2 hours. Like, God bless, because that was a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. I pray it's not too. Yeah, it was a lot. But I'll give it an infraction, but I do believe that the movie was a pretty good watch. It wasn't too long. It wasn't too short. It was just like a good little sweet spot of a lot of drama, yeah, but then a lot of heartfelt moments. And it was also in an interesting situation, which is the whole bomb threat hostage type thing. So yeah, I just give it an infraction, but the box officers seem to like it. It's a good movie. I can't see myself going
You
back to
would?
it, you know what I'm saying? Or,
Oh,
being, I
yeah,
said I
no.
can't see myself going back to it. Yeah, yeah. I could just, what would they call it? Maybe a good
Yeah.
popcorn movie? Is that what you would call it? Yeah, I just feel like it was worth the
I'm not
watch.
recommending it to
So,
anyone, though. I'm not
um,
setting anyone up to be
yeah, yeah,
stressed
yeah.
out at home while they're thinking, movie night, like, let's have a movie night, girls. And then you put that on. Yeah. Sorry, I'm not recommending it, but if you watch it, I'm sure you'll think it's artistically great, great acting,
Hmm.
beautiful, beautiful people. But man, like, I was
Yeah,
so glad that
yeah.
ended. When it went off, I was so glad it was
Yeah,
over. But yeah,
yeah,
we're so grateful for everyone coming and watching.
yeah. Thank you
Keep making
for
recommendations.
catch another episode. Yeah, and then keep our comment sections full. We'd appreciate more comments that drives up the engagement and pushes our content out there. Y'all can have fights or
I
whatever,
like it.
but just keep the
Yeah.
comments flowing.
All right, you
Yeah.
guys. Until next time.